see the world through other people's eyes. Now, empathy is a quality of character that can change the world.
One thing I need to do is, when the recording, I need to sync up the audio, because I have different audio and video tracks. So I take the recording and I put it into an editing program, and I line up the recording with, and one of the ways I do line up the audio and the video is I do a clap. So I go 1, 2, 3. And can I get you to do the same thing, Dennis?
All right, because I noticed that there is there's about a 1 second or 2 second gap between the audio and the video. I hear the audio right away, and then about a second later, I see Darya's mouth moving. So, all right, so here's my claps. Here's 3 claps in a row. 1, 2, 3.
Would you like to do the same, Darya? But when you clap and then say 1, so I can see your mouth.
Okay. 1.
No, really.
2.
Put it up so I can really see the clap come together.
Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, that's good. See, what I do is when the clap comes together, it registers as audio spike, and then I sync that spike and that together, and then I have the words and I sync them together. We have Gunther joined us.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Edwin.
Hi, Gunther.
Hello, friends.
and
hello
friends.
there.
So maybe we can go around and introduce everyone. Just kind of do a little introduction. And on my screen, Dennis is the first on the left.
All right. My name is Dennis Rivers. I live near San Francisco, California. I'm director of the New Conversations Initiative, which is a public service, a small public service organization that distributes free communication training curriculum material, teaching and training material. The most popular of which is called the 7 Challenges Workbook. And my website is called newconversations.net, and I'm very interested in encouraging empathy around the world. I really appreciate that Edwin has put so much work into reaching out to people to create a kind of global alliance for empathy. So I'm delighted to meet other people who are working along parallel lines.
Okay, and Gunther, can you introduce? Thank you, Dennis.
Hello, I'm Gunther. I'm from Germany, Holzmaden near Stuttgart. I'm coding and finishing sailplanes. My destination is to make my homepage as a spiritual homepage, which have almost the same interest to bring empathy, compassion, love, peace to the world, and to show the others the original instructions of the Great Soul.
Okay, thank you. And Darya?
Hi, my name is Darya. I am from Ankara, Turkey. I'm doing my second master's in anthropology, and I'm working on minority groups living in Turkey. I got my BA in Italian studies and my first MA in English linguistics. I'm interested in empathy because I'm working on different cultures and the commonalities between different cultures.
Okay, thank you, Darya. So there's what I wanted to, and I'm Edwin Rush from the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy, and the convener of this conference. And this is our first kind of a trial panel with some of the volunteers that are working on the conference. And we're going to kind of explore some topics and kind of get kind of familiar with how this whole process works. And what I'm going to do now is in the chat window of Skype, I'm going to put in a link, and that's to a shared Google Doc. And if you can bring that up, I've created, it's a volunteer Skype call and Google Doc. And if you bring up the page and then you scroll down to the February 25th panel discussion, this is like a shared work area where we can work together as we're discussing. And I put a bit of an outline for this meeting, for this panel actually there.
Oh yeah, that's today. Yes. Okay.
So with this Google Doc, you can go in, if someone's talking and you have ideas, you can go in there and type in your ideas. And if you want to kind of take notes, you can take notes there. Yeah, I see somebody just arrived. There's one person there.
I can find the link.
The link is, I just put it in the Skype window, in the chat window. Hello, friends. Who is that? Is that Dennis?
That's me. I'm just doing that to kind of give a sample of here's what it looks like. I'm a participant in this shared document, and I'm saying hello to everybody, and it's showing up on our shared document. So you can make notes. I'm just doing this as a kind of sample, so everybody gets the feel that we can mark up this document as a team.
Yeah, great. I see you there, and I see your hello friends, Dennis Rivers, and it's in red. And with the video here, I'm actually showing it on the screen, so anyone viewing this video is actually seeing that right now.
So we're on the air to other to viewers who are not direct participants in our conversation. Like if we wanted to have a panel discussion that that many people in the world could watch, then you're saying the document is available for people to see.
Oh, they could actually watch it too. We're not streaming the video. This video is not being streamed. I'm capturing it, recording it, and we'll save it on YouTube, and then people can see it afterwards.
Thank you.
So, okay, I see someone else came to. Are you both Gunter and Daria on the document? Have the document open?
I have it not.
Yes.
I have it not.
Are you having trouble finding it, or do you see the link there in the Skype chat window?
Oh, there must be.
So what I've noticed is that my Skype chat window tends to disappear. And at first, I didn't understand that there's a little icon down on even my control bar can disappear.
Oh.
So I have to go and put my mouse down at the bottom of the Skype window to bring back my little control bar. And then the chat window is represented by an icon that looks like a little dialogue balloon from a cartoon. A little balloon in a cartoon where people would be writing things.
Yeah, so I'm actually showing that on the Skype window. Unfortunately, Gunter can't see it, but the audience will be able to see it. So at the bottom of the video window, there's a little blue button, and it says Show Hide Internet Messaging, and then a chat window opens below, and then in that chat window is the URL that I put in there for the Google Doc. Are you seeing that, Gunter, or what is it?
Oh, just go back. It loads. It loads.
Oh, I see you. Somebody else. You just arrived. Okay, great. Or somebody has. Okay. We could kind of go to the next step.
One of the things we might do in this kind of situation is we might have an email back channel. For example, Edwin, if you have Gunter's email, and in my work, I do a lot of internet work, and I've discovered that I always need to have a plan B because so often plan A doesn't work. So one of the things we could have for a plan B is if we don't succeed at sending something through the Skype chat, we can send it through this back channel of email to the other person's email, and then they can open up their email and get whatever we're trying to send.
Great idea. And there's another way here is I just thought of is in the Facebook too. Through Facebook, so we have email. And the other idea, since we're kind of just working out the process, the other idea is before the meeting, I'll send this link too, so that people are familiar with how what the link is. So even before the meeting, I should have sent that. So, okay, so what I want to do, kind of the next thing is, in this actual panel is it will kind of use the 4 parts of empathy within the meeting structure itself. And let's see. Oh. And so what we're going to do is the 4 parts of empathy is self-empathy, mirrored empathy, imaginative empathy, and empathic action. And so to begin with, I thought we would start with self-empathy. And what I wanted to do is just for about 30 seconds or a minute is do some guided imagery. So what I was going to ask is that each of us just kind of get comfortable, get relaxed, close your eyes, kind of really relax, and just feel, self-empathy is about sensory awareness, kind of awareness of what's going on in your own body, kind of a sense of mindfulness, just connecting with yourself and the feelings that are going on inside of yourself. So just kind of relax and just feel, what is it? Look through your body, and I'll start talking very slowly to kind of relax, kind of talk a little bit slower so that we can just relax. Take some deep breaths. And if you're watching this, you can do the same thing and try it out, just if you're in the internet YouTube audience. It's like, what feelings are you feeling? What do the feelings feel like in your body as you scan your body maybe from your head down through your chest, down through the rest of your body, even down to your toes, as far down as your toes. Feel what's going on. Feel those feelings. Taking deep, slow breaths. Feeling what's going on in your body, all the different sensations. Long, deep breaths, and what do they feel like? Now, let's focus on one of the feelings, like one of the feelings that you feel like, that you're feeling in your body, and just focus on that feeling. And with your hand, start mirroring. Take that feeling and mirror it in your hand, like what it is you're feeling. And kind of bring it up and make one motion that kind of represents that feeling, and bring it up so it'll be visible on the camera to others. Like, what does that feel like? Okay, and slowly open your eyes. So you should be having a feeling that you're showing what that feeling is. See how I'm doing it? What is everybody's feeling? You can open your eyes. What is the feeling? Gunter, do you have a...
I come slowly to rest, but it's an empty feeling in the, how is it not, boog?
in the stomach? Can you represent that? Can you represent that with your hands, what that looks like? But higher so we can see it. Yeah, okay. And Daria, do you have one?
Maybe relief, as I wasn't thinking about anything.
Oh, so what does that look like with your hands?
Um,
Can you show us in the camera? Okay.
okay.
So Gunter, can you hold yours there so we can all see? Okay, great. That'll make a good picture. So mine is kind of a motioning here. So, okay, so so this is we've done self-empathy. We felt our own. Now we're kind of doing mirrored empathy. We're kind of seeing each other's feeling. And now what I'd like to try is doing a mirrored empathy exercise. Like everybody mirror the other person. Mirror me, for example, first. This is it. Daria, can you get a mirror? Okay, thank you. And then let's mirror Dennis. What was yours again? So this is kind of like with mirror neurons. We're kind of mirroring each other. Okay, and what was yours, Gunter? What was your... And that was kind of like an openness and a spaciousness in your stomach. Okay, and Daria, what was yours again?
This one.
Oh, you're kind of... And can you explain that one? What was that?
Relief.
Oh, relief.
Mhm.
Relief. Okay, great. So that's kind of like the mirroring. I just kind of experimenting with this. So thanks for trying that out. I'm getting a little bit of echo, Daria, from yours. You're like, oh, thanks. So this is, I'm just starting to go through, I'm trying to find a way that we can kind of go through in this process, actually do some of the steps of empathy. So we did self-empathy, connecting to ourselves, and now a bit of mirroring through mirror neuron empathy. So thank you for taking part in that. So kind of the next thing we wanted to do is kind of the purpose of this discussion was this is the group for volunteers for doing working on the conference. And in our last meeting, someone asked, you know, what is it that I'm getting out of working on this conference? And I thought that would be a really good discussion for us to talk about. So the question is, what do we each hope to gain from working as volunteers on producing the Empathy and Compassion Conference? So this is perhaps going into the third part of empathy, which is perspective taking. So we start seeing each other's perspective, what's kind of important for each other. So I'll just kind of prime the discussion pump a little bit. And the in the other talk, I mean in the other meeting, people said it's a way of learning about empathy, and it is personal. Learn about empathy and how it affects people, and then get support. So that was some of the comments people had. So perhaps we could just open that up for discussion. Like, what are you hoping to gain out of working on this conference?
Well, Edwin, I would like to make a suggestion. I would like you to be the kind of turn-taking moderator, because in these video discussions, it's very difficult to know when to take a turn. So until we kind of get used to doing it, it would help me if you would say, Dennis, please take a turn, or Daria, please take a turn, because then we'll know that we're not interrupting somebody, or we can get in this situation where everybody's waiting for somebody else because nobody wants to be in front of somebody else.
Okay, great. Thanks for, yeah. So would you like to start then, Dennis? What is it that you're coming up to for you?
Sure. Well, I think that for me, I get a very deep satisfaction out of participating in these empathy activities, because I consider this cultural resistance to the kind of the militarization both of the United States and of the world. So I experience something that the sociologists call engulfed alienation. Engulfed alienation is when you experience yourself that being swept along by a crowd that's going in the wrong direction. So that you're not alone, you're surrounded by people, but you're not happy about where this crowd is taking you. So I feel that participating in the empathy conference is my way of both encouraging other people, both going in the right direction, the direction toward life and away from death, and encouraging the life in other people.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry that somebody just...
This is my symbol for saying I'm done, which we also need to have some sort of, this says I've finished taking my turn.
Okay, thanks. We just were. I think we're being joined by Lawrence.
Yeah, hi there.
Oh,
Whoops. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello there.
Hi. Glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Edmund.
yeah. Yeah, we're just. Your video's kind of spinning here. Is it? Perhaps you could stop and start it.
Okay.
Sometimes that helps kick it in again.
Don't hold up because of me.
Okay. Okay, well, thanks for everybody's patience, because this is, since we're kind of getting started with this, we were kind of run into different problems. We're going to slowly work our way through them. So let me just reflect what I heard, Dennis, and sorry for the interruption. You're saying that you're feeling that the world, the country, the world is kind of militarized, and there's like a sense of alienation. And that this can be kind of a way of dealing with the alienation?
Yes, well, it's a special kind of alienation called engulfed alienation, and that's where you're surrounded by something that you disagree with. And so you're sort of struggling to swim in the other direction.
So this kind of doing the conference, working on the empathy conference, is a way of swimming against that.
Yes. And addressing the best, encouraging the best in people.
Well, one thing I was looking at, in the when we do these panels, is to do, one of the approaches for doing empathic listening is to do kind of reflective listening or kind of active listening. So maybe people in the panel can actually reflect back what they're hearing from the person speak, which is what I was just doing. I mean, I don't know what you think about that as an idea, but
I will play the part by saying, Daria, I invite you to experiment with me by saying back to me the gist, the essence of what I expressed.
Okay. You were frightened, maybe?
So that's the emotion that I was experiencing?
You were sad for a while, but then... you were excited?
Yes. Well, so I think what we were trying to do was explore empathic listening, where when someone says something, you try to kind of give a little summary of what the person said.
Okay, let me put a pause there for a second. We're dealing with some technical problems here. One is, Daria, we have an echo from you. So you really need to turn your microphone or your speaker way down.
Okay.
Because we've had this. And the other thing is you really need to get earphones. We've kind of, mentioned this before, because otherwise you get this echo and it's very disconcerting. So I'll keep talking, see if I get the echo. We still have the echo. We still still have the echo? Is your speaker? Do you have physical speaker? You can turn down the speaker volume.
I'm doing this.
Okay. We're still getting an echo. Keep turning it down so that you can, till you barely can hear, maybe. Do you have earphones?
No, for now,
Oh, okay.
they aren't with me.
And Lawrence, we're getting a lot of typing from you, so it's
Okay.
rather loud. It's great that you're typing, but and also we're not getting your video.
So, Lawrence, in terms of systematically working through the technical glitches, the first question to ask would be, do you see your face on your Skype display? Because if you see your face on your Skype display, that means your camera is working all right, and the problem is with the Skype transmission. But if you don't see your face on your Skype display, then it means your video camera isn't talking to Skype yet.
Okay. I'm not seeing it, so let me see if I can stop the video
Okay.
and restart again.
And that's in the that's on the tools menu of
Right.
Skype. There's a tools settings. One of the jobs I do is I do technical support for students at a little college. So we're always working our way through these menus. And on Skype, there's a tools menu, and on the tools menu, there's a video settings. And when you open up that video settings, it will allow you to pick the right camera. Sometimes Skype is actually pointing at a camera that doesn't exist or something like that. And then once you point it to the right camera, then your face will appear on your screen, and it'll probably appear to us too.
Yeah, so thanks for all this, Dennis. I'm actually bringing it up and actually recording it as we talk now.
Uh-huh.
So this will actually be part of the video. So it was you go to the tools menu.
The tools menu, and then pick options.
And then hit the options.
And then the options window will open up, and on the left-hand menu, you'll see video settings.
You click on the video settings.
You click on the video settings, and there's an thing to select the webcam. And sometimes, if you've had 2 or 3 webcams installed on your computer, Skype may be pointing to the wrong webcam. So that allows you to pick the right webcam, and you can see right away whether if it shows your face, then you know you've got the right one.
And here's another part too, is that there's the video settings, and then there's the audio settings.
Yes.
And Daria, if you bring this up now on your screen, do you have a PC? Okay, it's different on the PC than from the Mac, a little different. But if you go to the same place on the PC,
the tools menu.
Yes, go to the tools menu.
Select options.
Okay.
And then the window comes up, right?
Yes.
Do you see it says general settings, audio settings?
Yes.
Click on audio settings.
Okay.
And then you see microphone and speaker.
Yes, I see that.
And then it says automatically adjust microphone settings.
I'm checking it.
Do you see where it says, is you want to uncheck that. It should not be checked.
I'm unchecking
Yeah,
them.
and the speakers as well. Is uncheck the speaker.
Okay.
So actually, just by doing that, it stopped the echo. So what you can do here is you can select, you can adjust the microphone volume and the speaker volume. And if there's an echo, you can actually remove the echo, because the echo is from the microphone being too strong and the speaker, either that or the speaker being too strong.
Okay, is it okay now?
Yeah, it works great. Perfect.
Yes, it's fine.
Okay then.
Okay, looks like this is going to be a technical show here, but this is great. Now, Lawrence.
Oh, thanks to everyone for your patience as we work out all the technical details of having a global conversation.
Yeah, and talking about global, Dennis is in California, I'm in California, Gunter is in Germany, Daria is in Turkey, and Lawrence is in Sweden, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is very international. So what was the situation with your video, Lawrence? Were you able to see yourself in that window?
I couldn't find the tool bar, so I'm kind of out of pocket, but I'll just listen to people. It's okay. I don't mind.
Well, since we're working on well, here's another thing we need to work on, is do you have a PC or Mac?
I have a Mac.
Oh, okay, so it's different.
It's showing up differently.
Yeah.
I think.
So I'm not quite sure the Mac.
Yeah, probably got an older version of something or other. But
and the other thing is there a place to update Skype on yours? It's like
yeah. Let me see if I can get a newer version.
Yeah,
of it.
because the other thing we need for these calls is the latest version of Skype, because only that allows video conferencing.
Okay.
So that could be one of the problems.
All right, let me hang up.
Okay.
See if I can do this. Okay.
Okay. It kind of distracts a little bit from the flow. But I think what I'm going to do, this is really good though, is to really see what the problems are. And I'm going to put together a troubleshooting video with all this. You know, so that before people kind of join the call, that they should kind of go through and kind of watch this troubleshooting video.
Well, I think what I would like to suggest as a way of kind of getting back into our conversation might be that we go around the circle right now and have each person say what's in your heart right now, what are you thinking about right now, and what's in your heart right now would be a way of us getting back into the rhythm of our own conversation.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm glad to start on that. I'm feeling a little disjointed, you know, there's like so much troubleshooting, and I was a little irritated, Lawrence. You know, we had I'm thinking, yeah, I don't want to get into it, but we need to maybe start on time. And, you know, if people aren't on time, you know, I'm just going to have to say they can't join the call. So, but anyway,
so
I'm feeling kind
of thrown off your stride.
Yeah,
huh?
I feel kind of thrown off. So that I feel I need to get grounded again, do a little bit of meditation or something.
All right, next Gunter, you haven't said much so far. Would you like to take a turn and tell us how you're feeling right now?
It's a waiting feeling.
You just feel kind of like parked or in a traffic jam or something.
So, once again?
It's like you're in a traffic jam. It's like sitting in your car waiting for the traffic to move.
Well.
Well, thank you for being here today, Gunter. And Daria, how are you feeling right this minute?
I'm feeling happy. What can I say? I'm just thinking about the others and watching others. Then I'm trying to feel what they are feeling, in fact, about
Mm-hmm.
this
Mm-hmm.
event, about this panel.
Well, thank you very much, all of you, for participating in this little. We just took 60 seconds to do a little what's called a check-in, just to hear from each person. So, Edwin, what's next on your agenda for our gathering today?
I was just wondering what your check-in was.
Oh, I'm I get frustrated with technology, and I wish that I had a Macintosh so that I could help people with Macintoshes, because I only have a PC, so I can go through the various steps on a PC, but if somebody has a Macintosh, Skype is really different. So that was a little frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm that's a little frustration, and also I'm really happy to see people's faces from all the way across the world.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. It was, next on the agenda was just a kind of a discussion. I kind of got thrown, from the technical problems, but just kind of but in a sense, it's really good. I feel like it's good that we're kind of working these out and kind of knowing what are the problems and how do we kind of make this smoother. So I'm glad that everybody's patient, with the technical problems.
Well, since I don't know Gunter and Daria, what I'm most interested in hearing is how empathy is the work that each of you is doing with empathy in your own life or your own professional work.
You need to pick someone specific.
Oh, okay. So, Gunter, would you like to tell us a little more about how you're putting empathy into action in your life activities?
Empathy is in my life activities always. Sometimes I think too much, but I try to feel into others by every problem, and when every people have problems with other people's, and I can understand both. I try to feel into both parties of the of the problem. And
so you're
mostly
working on being like a personal ambassador of empathy to your friends. Is that right? A personal ambassador of empathy to your friends.
Well, yes.
Well, I heard that you with your friends, you try to listen to both sides and feel into both sides.
Sometimes the sound is away from you.
Oh. We're just reflecting.
I often hear in factory what's the problem from one man with the other. And mostly I can understand both, but I don't know how to that's a language problem. To do it together. The parties.
To organize a conversation.
To organize a conversation, yeah. Mostly there are hardly hard fronts. And often then I'm in a position to say, you're my friend, I understand you, but you're also my friend, I understand you. And yeah, sometimes I don't know how I show. Yeah,
It sounds like you empathize with each side, but how to bring the two sides together is a problem.
that's a problem. Yeah.
So empathy, you're interested in empathy with two people, maybe like being mediation or something, being able to mediate two people together.
Yes, yes. And on the other side, I try to teach in my Old Testament, my webpage, in a spiritual way, to be ambassador for empathy. Also empathy. There's many fields I work there, and that's one of them. And that's my question there for to being here. How can I tell people who are not spiritual, atheists, how can I tell them to take more empathy, to take more compassion in a spiritual way? I know that, but how make it for the most people, I will say, who are not spiritual?
Well, if
Yeah,
I can just interrupt, Lawrence was trying to get on the call again. So we'll try, see if that works. And also, I think we're getting echo from you again, Daria. Oh, yay, Lawrence, that worked.
Yeah, good.
Okay. I'm just checking where we're getting echo. We're getting echo from you again. If you can mute your mic and try to really push that mic volume and speaker volume down and make sure it's unchecked too, so it's not adjusting automatically.
Are you now speaking to Lawrence?
Yes, I was talking to Daria.
Oh.
Because we're having that problem with her echo from. So anyway, you were doing a great job of facilitating. Can you continue, Dennis?
Sure. We are going around the circle and having each person say a little bit more about the work that they are doing with empathy in their life. And Daria, you mentioned that you are working with different minorities in Turkey. So would you tell us a little bit more about your plan for using empathy in your study or your research, or however that is unfolding in your work?
First of all, I published several articles and wrote an MA thesis about conceptual metaphor theory of Lakoff and Johnson. My MA thesis was analyzing the emotional expressions of Judeo-Spanish and Turkish speakers. It was about different facial expressions that were used for expressing emotions. For instance, the eyes were used for indicating hate or jealousy, according to some proverbs in Judeo-Spanish and Turkish. Besides, there were few idioms with ears. They were just used for hearing, and in general, they were used for indicating emotions such as hate in relation with gossips. Therefore,
so you're trying
I observed negative and positive emotions indicated by different facial sensory organs in my first study, and I published some more articles. about the conceptual metaphor theory. And then I'm working on the commonalities between different minority groups living in Turkey, also their transnational identities. For instance, the American Sephardic groups who carry transnational identities because they have lived in different countries, such as Turkey or France, and also the United States. They were immigrating continuously, and they developed transnational identities. And I'm observing the commonalities, the common traditions among the minority groups.
Uh-huh. So you are actually a scholar of emotional expression. You're a careful researcher about emotional expression in different ethnic groups.
Yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
This is so. Mm-hmm.
Well, that raises all sorts of interesting questions about empathy, because for me to empathize with your feelings, I first have to recognize your feelings. And if you express your feelings in a way that's very different from me, I may not really know what you're feeling. I know what people are feeling who are in my group because I grew up with them. You know, I've lived with them for a lifetime. But if you're in a different group and you express anger or sorrow with a different range of expressions, then I can see how that's a challenge for empathy, because in order for me to empathize with you, I need to learn to understand you first. So I look forward to more conversations with you about this, Daria, because this is a very important topic for empathy across cultural groups.
Okay, then.
And Lawrence...
sorry, before we continue, we're getting a really bad echo from you, Daria.
I'm muting my microphone now.
Oh, but okay, thanks for muting it. But the other thing is to go into the tools options and really bring the volume of the microphone down so that it's kind of then. So anyway, that's
great. Lawrence, we are going around the circle, and each one explaining a little about what we're doing with empathy in our life and in our work, how we're engaged in working with the processes and ideas about empathy.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a handle on what empathy is, and I came across a story of a person in the 18th century who was probably one of the founding fathers for the anti-slavery movement. And I found his life interesting, and I wanted to explore trying to tell that story to children, because that's what I'm struggling with right now. The man's name's Thomas Clarkson. He lived in about the mid 18th century in England, and he was basically began to be outraged by slavery. He hadn't experienced it himself, but he had an essay to write at Oxford University, and it was a moment when he suddenly decided to put all his intellectual resources into researching the question, and interviewed all these people who had something to do with the slave trade, and wrote this very powerful essay. And then when he won this first prize and everything was fine and he was going to carry on with his life, and as he was riding back from his university, Oxford, to take up his new life, he had a sort of a life-changing moment where he thought, if everything I had written was true, about this, anti-slavery business, I should try to do something about it, not just pretend it doesn't exist. And so he was just a formidable force. Everybody's heard of Wilberforce in England, but he was the intellectual force behind and a researcher behind all the and a campaign and an organizer behind the movement. He linked up with the Quakers in particular, but he rode to every single city in England. And what I'm very impressed by is just how somebody begins to change their life because they find that some inhumanity is being practiced, and they cannot tolerate living in a world with that kind of inhumanity.
Yes.
I'm very, very taken by that idea of how people change their lives because they they see something that perhaps very few other people see, and they feel it in a strangely organic way. And they
Is it like
their whole perspective?
Oh, sorry. It's kind of like they started with that. It kind of started with empathy. He started empathizing with people in that that were slaves and kind of what they were going through, and that empathy maybe kind of started his quest to end that slavery. Is that
to end slavery, and just to really take it to go through all the necessary things he had to do, which is to convince people that it actually existed, because most people in England didn't feel the effects of slavery. They were sort of third parties in the whole business, and although there were port cities that had to deal with slavery and felt the effects, they were very positive because people made a lot of money out of this. So he had to show people, for example, the instruments of torture that they used to subjugate people, and the stories, the horrible stories of all the suffering that went on in these boats. He had to communicate a story to people so they would then begin to take notice. And he signed, I think there was like several cities that signed petitions with thousands of petitions he collected to the forced Parliament's hand, because Parliament was basically in the hands of the slave owners, and there was a huge effort. I mean, to think about modern day equivalent, I mean, they just didn't get a hearing. They would not get a hearing, and he really had to force the issue.
So this person, this person Clarkson, represents a kind of a special moment in the history of empathy, because he studied the situation of the slaves, and then he felt emotions about that.
Yes.
He studied it enough to be able to imagine what they were feeling, and that seems to have motivated him to change the world. Exactly. Someone made a movie there's a movie about him out floating around somewhere. I'm sorry, I've forgotten the title of it. But it retraces the steps that you've shared. But I can see the issue about empathy here is that Clarkson is a hero of empathy, that he is empathizing when no one else around him is empathizing.
Right. And it just happens because he decides to take on a challenge. He wasn't going to do anything about it at all. It's only when he started saying, I'm going to try. It was the end of his university career, and he wanted to, just do something that he thought was going to be worthwhile. And so it was kind of accidental in a way.
He didn't set out. He didn't think that he was going to change his life by doing this.
No, but the important point was when he was riding his horse back to London from Oxford, he suddenly had this moment, which is very well described. The book I'm reading is Adam Hochschild. It's a brilliant book called Bury These Chains, and he describes this moment well when he's riding, and he's just at some inn or other, and he suddenly just says, I've got to change my life. because of this. And he writes down the emotions that were going through him in a very uniquely modern way. So I'm kind of fascinated by that. If somebody can do that and put, I mean, a prodigious amount of effort. I mean, he totally changed his life. I mean, literally, from the moment that that moment occurred, he was on the road, talking to people, buttonholing people, preparing this essay for publication, and making sure that things were taken care of. The organization of this movement became.
Well, I
real.
hope that our empathy conference is like that too. That
Yes.
that we can
So
kind of create that energy around the conference. And kind of the one thing I did want to get covered before, we've been going for about an hour now, so we should kind of look at towards wrapping up. But is to have everyone talk about which was the initial question for this conference, is kind of what are you hoping to kind of get or achieve from working on this conference. And so I was hoping to get us kind of a list of kind of emotions of why people are excited about creating this conference. Would you like to talk about that, Daria, since just what it is that you're hoping to get from the conference, working on it?
Okay. I'm hoping to make several people meet and talk about animal rights, and they should also empathize with animals who are suffering, who have some sufferings, who have been abandoned in the streets, who have been mistreated, who have been hurt, etc. And they should empathize with these, and also some people should also empathize with children. And first of all, I wish to organize a panel about animal rights and empathy. And second, I may be interested in the education of empathy to children and even to adults.
So you're concerned about animals and the welfare of animals and children. You feel that empathy will help their situation,
Yes.
and that the conference will help in that effort. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, that is correct. I hope so.
I want to jump in here for just a second because I'm seeing a really interesting connection between what Lawrence was talking about and Daria, what you were talking about. And it has to do with the fact that empathy grows out of understanding. That this fellow Clarkson did a careful study of the circumstances of the slaves before he had the emotions of wanting to end slavery. So when I see that in relation to, say, your issue of cruelty
sorry,
to animals,
Dennis, can I just interrupt? I'm really sorry about that.
Yes.
But we're getting such a bad echo from Daria that...
Daria, will you turn down your microphone for a minute?
Yeah, okay, sorry. Because the recording would be really bad for this.
Yes. So, Daria, what I saw was, from what Lawrence was saying, what I saw is if you presented a study of just the equipment that gets used to constrain the animals, that if people studied the cages and the machines and the details, they would begin to have this feeling of, oh, that's what it's like. Oh, the animals must really, be feeling terrible. But anyway, I'm very intrigued by this idea that the emotions of empathy grow out of knowledge. So there might be a way that you could present the details of how animals are confined and the details of how they're treated. And just by presenting the details, you're not telling people they have to feel anything, But if you just present the details, people will start to have emotions about that, because they'll work out in their own mind, oh, that must really feel bad. Well, anyway, thank you for letting me take a turn. Please go ahead, Edwin.
Okay, Gunther, could you just talk about, I guess you did already, you talked about that you're hoping to learn more about empathy, I guess, for doing mediation between your friends and work colleagues.
Yes, and second point is how to learn how we can change and learn how the barriers on the way to empathy, the barriers where there is indifference, I wrote it up, self-interests, hard-headedness, contempt, all these points. How can I get out of the heads from the people on the way to empathy? Before I can teach them empathy, there must these points are away. Some of these points, and to knock out this, that is the heaviest work.
So you're interested in working on the conference so that you can learn about empathy, and you would also like to learn about how to remove the blocks to empathy. Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Is there more, or is that pretty much... Is that it? Or was there more? Or that was...
Yeah.
Okay.
In the moment.
Okay. And Lawrence, what was it, why was it that you were wanting to kind of contribute to creating this conference? Oh, your audio is off, I think, Lawrence.
We've lost your microphone feed.
Yeah.
Here you are. You're back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I wanted some support for thinking about empathy, because I don't know where my thinking is right now. I want to have your ideas and suggestions about how to think about it. I think Dennis's point just now about how the process works, to understand how empathy works from knowledge is a very good insight. That you have to, and maybe people absorb the knowledge in different ways. Visual information is very powerful, I know, but how it's presented, who presents it, how does the discussion go from then on? What kind of community support do you need to take your initial feelings of indignation and amazement that this thing exists to something where you take action? So I'm looking to try to work in those areas.
Okay, so again, it sounds like you're wanting to really kind of learn from being part of this. It's a way for you to learn about the nature of empathy, and you've got a lot of specific qualities about empathy that you'd like to learn about.
Yeah.
Okay. And Dennis, did you want to add anything to your previous?
Well, I think that what looms large in my mind is the war in Afghanistan, which has been going on for more than 10 years. And Americans seem to have a hard time, great difficulty to empathize with the people of Afghanistan who have been hurt so much by this 10-year war. So I'm very interested in what is the next step. So in a way, I'm just like Gunther. Everything that Gunther says about barriers to empathy for the people working in the factory, I feel the barriers to empathy. Gunther, I hope you'll write a little list and send it to us, You know,
A moment,
just a one page, you know, the barriers to empathy.
Just a moment, please. Can
Sure.
I interrupt you? That's not what I say from the barriers. That's not meant only for the factory. That's
I
meant
know,
for
I
all,
know.
for all pounds.
Yes.
There is to teach empathy. As for animals, as for racism, as for wars, for everything you can think. First, we can teach. Before we can teach empathy in any way, there are to knock out these barriers.
So I am searching for the next step because the war in the United States is becoming a permanent state of being, which is a very bad development for the United States. So we have to find some new practice of empathy so that we stop hurting people around the world. Well,
yeah. So you're wanting to, if I'm hearing it correctly, is find ways to widen empathy at a worldwide scale, and especially in America, related to all these wars. Maybe find a way to use empathy instead of kind of violence and war. Is that right?
Well, it's really using empathy instead of violence would be a tremendous development. But I'm thinking of something much more simple and more preliminary than that, which is just to begin to see the people as human. You know, we don't recognize that there's real human beings on the other side of this violence. So I can give you an example. In the movie Star Wars, there's these scenes, these battle scenes, and there's the enemy soldiers in Star Wars. But the enemy soldiers are empty. So when the enemy soldiers are shot with a gun or a special missile or something, the enemy soldiers fall apart, and what you see is that they're empty. There's nothing inside of them. And that is a very interesting example of the depersonalization of the other. That no one cries in Star Wars when one of the enemy soldiers is killed, because the enemy soldiers are portrayed as empty robots. So there is a kind of cultural example from the United States of this depersonalization. Only now we're treating the citizens of Afghanistan as if they're just empty. Their lives and deaths don't matter to us, or they don't matter to us enough. So the question is how to make them real again, real people.
And do you think the conference is going to help with that?
Well, I think that anybody who beats the drum for empathy is helping the world, rediscover this. We need to rediscover our own hearts.
So the conference is going to be beating the drum for empathy. And
yes.
You want to support that drum beat.
Yes, I want to be part of that.
Okay.
I want to thank all of you for listening to my my difficulties about the war.
Well, thank you for sharing them, Dennis. So I would like to kind of bring it to a close. If there's something else that you feel is burning that you would like to share about why you're wanting to be involved in the conference. Is there something else anyone would like to say before we go to the next step? Okay. I will ask specifically, Gunter, is there anything else you would like to say?
Moment not.
Daria? Oh, Daria's, your video is frozen.
Can you hear us, Daria?
Oh, maybe your microphone is off. Daria, is your microphone? Whoop.
Sometimes the Skype video feed freezes, you know, and then because I don't see Daria moving at all.
Yeah, she stopped. Okay. Any final comments, Lawrence? There?
No, good, thanks.
Oh, okay, great. So we were kind of used the model of the 4 parts of empathy. I was trying to structure it. It didn't quite work, but starting off with self-empathy, mirrored empathy, imaginative empathy, which is kind of perspective taking, which is we're kind of seeing each other's perspective here around empathy. And the 4th part is empathic action. And around that, one thing that I'd really like to work on is our transcriptions. So we've been starting to do transcriptions of these different panels and interviews, and I create a page for transcriptions. And I'm going to put it into the Skype window. And I'm also putting it into the document under point 5. And there's this page with the different interviews that we're doing, and some people are have been taking on transcribing. And in the transcriptions is to just take one of these panels, for example, what we're doing now, and listen to it, and then to make kind of an outline of what you're hearing with time code in it. And we just had 2 of them done. The panel 1 was done, and panel 3 was just finished. I haven't quite updated that. So if there's one of these that you would like to contribute to, is you know, kind of take the panel or the interview, and if you're listening to it, just go through and kind of make an outline to it. Oh, I'm back.
Good. Hello, Daria.
I am back. I could.
Hi.
Oh, great.
Hi. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your image is frozen, but.
Yes, the Skype was frozen. It wasn't functioning, and I couldn't unmute my microphone at that time.
Okay, technical problems.
Okay.
So if you could mute the mic, it's just we get the echo.
Okay.
Thanks. So anyway, that's just the it's still, there we go. Not getting an echo. Okay, I think we're okay. So that's the one request. If you would like to kind of contribute, kind of the specific task, is to take one of those videos that's on that page, and then let me know which one it is, and then add your name to kind of helping with the transcription of it. So does that seem doable, Dennis? Or and I'll just go.
I'll have to look at my work schedule before I take on any new projects.
Okay. Okay, and Lawrence, is that Daria took one on already? So would that be a doable
Yeah, I'll take a look at it. If you could send me the where are these videos? Where are they located again?
The videos are on YouTube, and there's a
Okay.
link in the. I'm putting it into the. If you see the chat section of the Skype window, do you see that come
Okay.
up?
Yeah.
And there's a link.
Oh, okay. I got it.
And
Yeah.
that link kind of has the different interviews and panels, and so it's kind of just and the instructions are there for you know,
Okay.
how to do the transcriptions. So it's actually a good way to learn about empathy. It's just like, you know, at college taking notes. That when you take notes, you kind of learn about it better. And I've done a lot of these. You know, I've gone through all the, you know, for the last year, as I've been kind of watching these different videos on the internet. Just while I'm watching them, I take notes, and then I put the notes on a web page, and that just makes it easier for other people. You know, it's kind of that building process for
I
making
see.
making the information about empathy more uh,
I get it.
accessible. And there's plenty of samples there. So I don't know,
Okay.
Gunter, I know you have some, you know, language problems. Did you want to give that with English? I don't know if that, it might be very difficult to do for you, but I don't know if you want to try it.
I want to interrupt you, Edwin. I want to say we have language problems because our German isn't very good.
Oh yeah, telling me.
Uh,
Well, I don't mean.
Gunter, thank you for joining us and working to meet us more than halfway, since we right now can't meet you halfway and speak German half the time.
Oh, you cannot many understand, huh?
Well, Gunter is putting together a German panel, so that'll be good.
Oh, I tried.
Dennis, I mean, Ed, can you say a little bit how the transcriptions relate to the conference?
The conference is, I try to interview empathy experts. So it's this broad term. It's like people who are knowledgeable, who've been studying empathy, that I'm doing a 1 hour interview with them. So I've just interviewed people like Marco Iacoboni, who wrote the book Mirroring People, interviewed Emile Bruneau, who's he's studying conflict resolution and empathy at MIT with, you know, neuro brain scans. There was,
Okay.
you know, Karen Gerdes. She's studying in the social works department at University of Arizona or Arizona State, and they're working on a curriculum around empathy for social workers. And then I'm bringing those people together into do panels. And then, so it's just handy, it's just helpful to have an outline of what the video was about, you know, the interview or the panel, because then you can quickly go and there's some samples there. So I think it really, instead of seeing a whole hour and not knowing what's in that video, it's like, you know, right there, you can quickly see it. And I think so that's the idea.
So it's a resource for the conference for helping people understand
Right.
what the discussion is going to be about.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like we're going to have a whole index of all the different people who are in the conference, in the panels, and then you'll be able to go to every panel, kind of see what's in the panel, you know, what was covered, if you want to, you know, take the time to watch the panel or just kind of gather from the notes what was in it. As well as it's also a way to kind of gather the different points that come up and then start organizing those points. So one of the things I'm working on is a page on how to build a culture of empathy and start making the bullet points for how do we do it. And so we'll be able to, you know, take all the knowledge and insights and stories and experiences of people and start organizing it into a systematic, you know, tool for people to a resource. So it's just a very helpful component for all that. So, okay, maybe we could bring the talk, our panel to a close, and I'm with maybe just a one word that you're kind of feeling and that you would like to leave us with. And I will start. I'll start with the word hopeful. Dennis?
Many blessings.
Gunther? One word feeling of what you're feeling?
I can hardly express it.
Shared understanding for me.
I'm waiting for the next time. I'm happy to go to the next call.
Okay, waiting for the next time. And Daria?
Understanding. As I was watching everybody and trying to understand what they were, how they were feeling, then I think that I was feeling some type of understanding and empathy.
Empathy. So that's a really good word to end this call with, then, is empathy. So, okay, then I will then...
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Thanks for organizing it.
Thanks
you.
for taking part. Appreciate it.
Nice
Grateful.
meeting everybody.
See you the next time.
See the world through other people's eyes. Empathy is a quality of character that can change the world.